Dear viewers, thanks so much for joining me in another weekly roundup where I'm bringing you all the indie news, games releases, patches, free games and teasers I discovered last week. Let's dive in. Starting with reveals and announcements. To no one's surprise, Gollum got delayed. The gameplay trailer they released a few weeks ago, which I also covered in the roundup, wasn't much to anyone's liking. The response from the audience was overwhelmingly negative because the game honestly looked like it was made 10 years ago. A much bigger issue is that not many people seemed interested in the game at all. The whole idea of crawling through Middle-earth as Gollum isn't too exciting. Either way, because trailer reactions were so negative, I already said I wouldn't be surprised if this game would get delayed, which is exactly what happened. And I find it always interesting to see how the devs phrase this. Here's a quote. "We are dedicated to meeting our community's expectations and uncovering the untold story of Gollum in a way that honors the vision of J.R.R. Tolkien." Yeah, that trailer met absolutely no one's expectations, so that part didn't work out too well. They can fix, maybe, the look and feel of the game, and for now the game has been postponed by a few months. However, the whole premise and design of the game, Gollum in stealth, that they cannot change of course, unless they start from scratch. The few extra months will help with polish and hopefully visual fidelity, because graphics and just smooth movement can help out a lot, but the core design is going to be very problematic. Just like Gollum itself, this game doesn't have a bright future, it seems. Serum revealed itself to the public. This game, published by Polish indie studio Game Island, because their studio is located on an island, is a survival action adventure, and the trailer shows a little bit of gameplay too. Steam provides additional info saying that you've been injected with a strange green shiny serum, usually not good when that happens. In this case, it apparently is the key to survival and helps you evolve, gain new abilities, etc. There's puzzle solving, building a safe house, mystical biomes to discover, scanning of objects to learn more about their significance, crafting, and survival under time pressure. So far, it could simply be just another survival game because nobody makes survival games anymore these days, right? Not sure, but I will keep an eye out to see how this is evolving and if we get a green light at the end of the tunnel or if this will dissolve in another stinking pile of green goo. Wolcen is a game that almost everyone has given up on, except the devs, which I find very commendable. This studio certainly isn't the most talented out there, and the Wolcen game itself has had many issues, but I think it's also fair to say the devs kept at it, and Wolcen these days is a much better game than it used to be. The devs could have just abandoned the whole thing, but they didn't. Once again, commendable. This iconic ARPG is about to receive controller support, including a completely overhauled UI for the controller, which is definitely the way to go. It was planned for a while now, but it's almost here according to the latest devlog. In that same post, they're mentioning we're getting a new chapter as well, chapter 4, sometime in the future. It's another narrative, which was definitely one of the strong suits of the game, but it also contains replayable endgame content. That could be interesting, because while expeditions are definitely improved over time, it's still not the most riveting ARPG endgame grind out there. Maybe chapter 4 can fix that. I'm actually looking forward to this. I still play Wolcen from time to time. I like it, it's something else. I feel it is salvageable, in theory at least. Who knows? Time will tell, I guess. It's summer, time for vacation, or in this case, Slaycation. Slaycation Paradise, a top-down hack-and-slash zombie killing game, which I played already quite a bit, check out the video, is releasing August 18th. This is a fun game, tongue-in-cheek humor, gory, visceral action, a load of weapons to kill with, and an overall great premise where a random family still wearing holiday clothes is getting stuck in a futuristic zombie apocalypse. I had a lot of fun with the demo and I'm looking forward to play the whole thing. Striving for Light, an ARPG with a rather unique art style, procedurally generated skill tree and roguelite elements, released a roadmap. The next patch is going to bring stuff you would expect, like 3 new environments, adding to the variety, new bosses, skills and weapons. Much more interesting is a map progression system, which brings me to the main downside of this post. Nothing is explained, so it's a little rough to get excited for a map system if you have no idea what the devs mean with that. Same is true for a character legacy system. Nonetheless, I am excited because this game is definitely putting out solid updates and apparently they're not even close to finishing. If any of these games look interesting, be sure to wishlist them. It helps the devs out a lot. Similarly, you can subscribe to this channel, which helps me out a lot. We're on our way to 300 subs and growing quite fast, so I appreciate it. It's teaser time, a small one this time, a mix of small updates and teasers I think are worth showing. Path of Exile, still 8% indie, released the name for next league, Lake of Calandra. Calandra is the mother of sin and innocence apparently. Maybe this is a boat league or we can go fishing. Whatever it is, Chris will take another 300 hours of my life and that's all fine. Proceeding with the patch Plaza, bringing an overview of patch news. The headliner here isn't really a patch, but a DLC. The Powder Master DLC for card game Banners of Ruin released. It's only €3, which is a very friendly price tag. For that couple of bucks you're getting a new playable character after which the DLC is named, the Powder Master. His specialty is mixing and brewing cards and he has grenades too. Should be very interesting. This is a completely new mechanic which is great. Furthermore, the DLC brings 10 talents and 8 passives for the Powder Master, 6 new cards, 3 new enemies and 7 new scenarios. Clanfolk, the colony sim that stole my heart, keeps patching the game. The dev added a bark to wood ash recipe, giving bark an additional use, and it makes sense that you can turn bark into wood ash, right? The well duplication bug with jugs is fixed. It apparently only happened on tilled soil. There's now a clear indicator when you can't plant crops because of the season. Planting jobs will clean themselves up in the fall and winter when they cannot be completed. And finally, automatic cleanup of automated tasks is also improved. Burying loved ones is now automated, which is a godsend because no one could figure out how to bury the dead, and having rotting corpses in your village wasn't exactly great for morale. Finally, bed owners now actually sleep in the beds they own, which is kind of the point of assigning beds. This game is definitely going places and I'll be keeping tags. Space Punks, the epic exclusive free-to-play ARPG from indie studio Flying Wild Hog, is still in open beta and a new update launches soon on August 3rd, called Update 6, the spoiled one. They have this theme running with update names where they put 1 in the term. It's also how their characters are introduced. I don't think it's that funny, but you know, that's why. This update brings a new planet, Spore. There's a new respawn feature, meaning that you don't permanently die anymore in multiplayer, which is kinda nice because this is primarily meant to be played in multiplayer. There's a new HUD in missions, also useful because it was very common your multiplayer buddies or you would get lost. The patch enables more enemy modifiers and finally balancing on the crack, another multiplayer mode, crafting and early campaign rewards. For those interested, full patch notes will drop before the patch does. Ghost Lore, the pixel art smash hit of an ARPG, deployed a new patch. There's a new underground map, a new enemy, the aphotic lurkers, also known as flying swordfish. There are new UI features, a shared stash to swap items between characters, and the devs added a new gem pouch for easier inventory management. I don't know too much about this game honestly, I never played it, but people love this early access title, rating it a 90% on Steam. Only 121 reviews though, meaning this is still a little bit of a hidden gem. Loot River released patch 1.0.94, bringing a new enemy and more boss variation. This is also a pixel art ARPG. It had a bit of a rough launch, but these days it is sitting at 73% user rating. The devs also shared some future plans. They're working on daily runs, which I'm guessing are, daily runs, and they're also looking to expand items, weapons, charms and spells for more build variety. Then releases, looking back at what released last week. Cartel Tycoon, where you're building out your drugs empire, released from early access into full release. I'm playing the game at the moment, I'm only a few hours in, but I'm pleasantly surprised by the story elements and voice acting. Steam users give it a 77% so far. It's also on sale until next week. The game's only €14 over here, which is rather cheap. The Tarnishing of Juxtia, a 2D dark fantasy Souls-like, seemed to go places. On paper, that is. In reality, Steam rated it a 66% mixed, with many of the negative reviews complaining about sloppy combat and input lag, typically something you don't want in a Souls-like. So waiting for a few patches is probably the best approach here. It's also €20, which isn't that cheap for a game like this. Multiversus is slamming it out of the park. This brawler in the style of Super Smash Bros, but then with Warner Bros characters, is hitting a solid 90% user rating on Steam. It's free to play, it's fun, it's all good this one. Bear and Breakfast, another success story, this time about a bear starting a B&B. It is a laid-back management game with a touch of story attached to it. Steam rates it a 90%, which is impressive. It goes for €16, which seems a very reasonable price if you're into games like this. Sweet Transit, another management game. This time you're managing towns and railroads, and the game managed to get an 80% user rating while entering early access last week. You can hop on the hype train for $20. Let's look ahead what is releasing this week. Earth's Shadow is releasing August 3rd. This is a game I've had access to for what seems like a year. Maybe it is. I've been following the progress of this one, which is a passion project of a solo developer. It's a very ambitious title, a third-person shooter-looter game where you're landed on an alien planet and you need to figure out what happened, I think. From my playtime so far, I would say it mostly delivers with challenging combat, very decent graphics and overall fun gameplay. But it is still a little rough around the edges. Just don't expect a whole lot of polish, I would say. I have been playing alpha and beta builds though, so the final product might be different. I'll definitely check it out. South of the Circle, a narrative-driven indie game about a crashed airplane on Antarctica, is a game I would love to get my hands on and play. Already some outlets have done that, with Metacritic scoring it an 82, not bad. I think Steam scores it even higher once it launches, because it's crystal ice cold clear what kind of game you're getting into, and everything I've seen so far looks amazing. The story, the graphics, the voice acting, it seemed top notch. I'd be surprised if this was bad, honestly, but I'll let you know next week. It's out August 3rd. Camp Canyonwood releases August 4th. You could say this is yet another town building, management, colony sim indie game releasing into early access, and you would be right, but I feel the unique visual style here does a lot for this one. It's very different, at least in that sense, so I'm giving it a shout out over here. It could be fun. Heart West 2, also out August 4th. Here's what the devs say about this one. Heart West 2 is a journey to the heart of darkness in the American West. Take control of a supernatural posse and catch the mysterious ghost train. Outsmart, outcheat and outgun your enemies in this turn-based tactics game set in a Wild West world where nothing is as it seems. Then, time for this week's sort of free games because I'm Dutch and I'm cheap. Epic has only one game continuing their streak of unimpressive ones. This time it is Lawn Mowing Simulator. I don't know what's happening to this world anymore from time to time. Uncle Phil from Game Pass also serves up just one new title, but it is an indie classic, Inside. Apparently a beautiful game. I've never played it, but now that it's on Game Pass, I might. Time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? I've been doing quite a bit of non-game related stuff like drinking beer, enjoying the sun, working and having more drinks. I'm making my way through Cartel Tycoon, for which I got a review key. We'll see what sort of video I'll be doing, but there's a good chance I'll be doing something there. I've played the demo of I See Red that lasted 11 minutes. It is extremely short, but in that time I could see how smooth and satisfying the combat was. The trailer has a lot of screen shake and such for dramatic effect, I guess, but the game doesn't have that at all. This could be fun once it's out. Annapurna Interactive did a show. They're a great publisher, so I'll watch that today and might feature some games from that next week. Stay tuned for that. And my Gamescom Press accreditation requests have been denied for both this and the main channel. That's a real shame, honestly. Without it though, there's no real reason for me to go there. Having the opportunity to talk to devs about their games, that's what would bring me there. And I would love to set up a few interviews and just bring that sort of content out to you as well. If you're just a visitor, you can't really do that. You don't have access to the business area and everything gets a lot harder. So that means I probably won't be going this year. And that's it. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. Thanks for watching and for making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.